Green Lantern Corps, issue 13, legacy number 115. This is Morgan Hampton writing with JUAN Jose Ryp on the art. One artist. Hey! One artist.
And how much of an enjoyable art experience was this? Because it was so nice not jumping around so much.
It's not my favorite art ever. It's kind of just okay house style-esque, but it was consistent, and that was such a step up from the last several issues. So happy days.
So the art style it's decent. I think you would call it very, very much house style, right? Everyone kind of looks like they're supposed to. You know, there's nothing. I would say it's very dynamic. The breakdowns are all very, kind of regular, but it does its job. You know, it's not distracting. So, yeah.
Yeah. Enquar's whole thing, he's brought the water planet, which is basically all of him surrounding a planet, and he's waging war on Oa, and all the lanterns are fighting, but he's basically just like forming water around him. He's basically like a water lantern, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
Because at one point when they're fighting underwater, he's basically making constructs underwater of like big piranhas and stuff, and I'm like, this is actually I almost think we could do like a whole new set of lantern like cores of like water, fire, so
elementals.
Elemental lanterns. There you go.
But yeah, it's also he's gonna try to drown Oa by dropping himself on there, and taking it all out. Let them really pay the price for ruining his planet. Which again, I understand where he's coming from, right? Because if people don't remember, the Green Lantern Corps brought these refugees from another place to his planet, which they thought wasn't inhabited, but it was this big hive mind water creatures. I think you compared him to the alien, the Abyss, right? Kind of like that.
I don't remember if I said that, but that's fine.
But yeah, and they polluted it, so now he wants his revenge. So how's he gonna get his revenge? He's gonna drown everyone on Oa. And then we get Fatality trying to be the, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? The not the word of advice, but kind of be like, hey, do you really want to do this? This isn't going to make your people come back,
Yeah, well, I mean, the whole story of this issue is Fatality sort of realizing she doesn't actually just want to murder everyone. As much as she has a lot of, sadness about what happened to her, she's realizing here that once you take away the rage, she's not actually vengeful. She's more just, compassionate is the word, because she ends up becoming a Violet Lantern. Yeah.
Indigo,
sorry. You know what I mean? The Indigo one. The compassionate ones.
Right, because she was a Love Lantern way back in Blackest Night, right? She's one of the ones that gets into the multicolor guard. And I feel like the compassion with this story fits her so much more, right? Because of what we know of the Indigo tribe, where a lot of them were really bad people, right? And when they get this Indigo light in them, it makes them feel that compassion for the people they've wronged. Yet here she comes about it on her own, which I really like. I really like what Morgan Hampton did with the concept of compassion and what it means for Fatality. And we even see her in that Violet getup, and I was like, no, the Indigo stuff fits her, even down to the staff, right? She usually has that spear type thing, right? And so again, if we're going to keep going with these concepts, I like that we're advancing them and not just running back the same things. Yeah. And while we're talking about the Compassion Corps, the tribe, I don't trust that Yoda looking dude. There's just something about him that rubs me the wrong way, man. Like he's a sick little freak. I can't prove it yet, but I'll get there. So yeah.
That's because you're a small person, Matt. You know.
I know what we're capable
of. Yeah, you know how sick a little freak can be. So yes. you're
like me and Danny DeVito. We get it. All right.
So there's some big stuff here. They have Mogo come in and like all the different colored lanterns like make a giant lantern like cannon reactor thing that blasts from Mogo to the water planet. And that's kind of your big epic style moment. And then there's some fighting underwater because John and Fatality go into Equinus's planet and like drill to the center because they basically realize that his food source has to be coming from somewhere, and he's got it all buried deep underground. All these nutrients from the life that's all died on the planet, kind of thing.
And as John Stewart, who's an architect, right, a guy that looks how things are built, is like, had he spread this out instead of putting it in the core in one spot, he would have been almost unbeatable. But the fact that he put it all in one spot, it led him right to them, or led them right to him, which I thought that was fun for John to point out.
Yeah, no. And then she pulls off a trick here where she basically takes him and puts him into her necklace, like this little orb. So he's still alive in there, and then she hopes that one day he can be, you know, get over his anger and not be a murderous planet again. But we see that actually removes all of the water from his planet. It just becomes a big dirt ball. And apparently they're going to put all the Thanagarians who are refugees on there now, so that's become New Thanagar, apparently.
Yep.
So that's going on.
If you really want to get testy, you could compare it to things that are ongoing right now, but I don't want to get testy. So,
oh, sure, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, and then there's some status quo stuff at the end, which is basically, you know, they have to all work together. We're going to have a council of all the different Lantern Corps. And I did laugh a little bit at Jessica showing Larf. He's like, hey, this seat's all yours. And he's like, mine? He's like,
Even that wet Muppet gets a seat at the table.
I love the idea that 10 minutes later he's like, yeah, but can I have all the chairs? Why do you all have chairs? I should have all the chairs.
Look, you're not really using them. Or like, Larfleeze, we're sitting in them. He's like, yeah, but I could sit in all of them. So, you know, and also I like that the new recruits that we spent the early parts of this series meeting all graduate also, right? So they're full-fledged Lanterns.
Yeah, I
here
will
too.
Critique that. I mean, I think my critique of this issue, if nothing else, is that maybe it does feel a little bit rushed. You know, maybe could have breathed over a little bit if it had a couple issues. I think them just having this panel at the end where, hey, the young ones have graduated felt a bit weird in this issue, because I'm like, they were barely in this issue. I know we've been doing that previously, but it wasn't a part of this issue at all. So it felt a little bit just out of nowhere. Hey, you've graduated now. So, you know, critiques where they are.
What is there? And then the Indigo guy, the little creep, introduces Fatality to, you know, with the Indigo tribe, but says that she'll be the host for the Indigo entity. Which I was like, okay, we're going with this again.
Yeah, the opening scene from Commando's playing outside of Matt's house right now.
It's garbage day, in the words of Silent Night, Deadly Night 2.
Yeah, well, you got to say it properly. It's garbage day.
Yeah.
You got to say it properly, Matt. Come on.
Yes.
So the end of this issue is that Guy is like, oh, finally time for a nap. All this stuff's over. I can rest. And then all of the entities show up, but as baby versions, and like, hey, you have to come find this Guy Gardner. And he's like, what?
I do like him, just his last words in the issue are, why are you guys babies? I love that he just says the quiet part out loud. Like, that is Guy Gardner.
Yeah. I kind of needed him to say it though in a weird way, because it's not like, because they're all like creatures that are obviously not real creatures. So I might have just assumed they were shrunk down to fit in his apartment rather than they're literally babies. So him saying that is like, okay, they're babies. They're babies. Yes,
babies. Which, that's how I greet my dogs every day I walk in. As like Shredder seeing Toka and Razor for the first time, because it's fun. And
that's another obscure reference from our childhood. There you go. Enjoy it, everyone.
But out of all of them that look like babies, Ion, right? Because the big eyes that you usually, you know, when you want to show that something's younger in animation or art, and then Parallax as well, because Parallax almost looks cute. Parallax doesn't look cute ever. Parallax is all teeth and claws and terrifying insect physiology. That one's, I dare say, cute. You know? So, yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, I think this continues to be a perfectly, like, interesting concept book where, like, I like kind of everything it's doing conceptually, but it's not the most, like, you know, like this could be fleshed out and it could be paced better and everything could land way better. Like, all this stuff with Fatality here does feel a bit rushed to me. But I do like the idea of the water, like, entity and his planet, and I like the idea of, like, some of the things that it sets up here at the end. But yeah, definitely a little bit on the shaky side from a construction point of view. And the art's just okay.
Sure.
So, you know, like I'm not going to be praising it particularly highly, but I think it's like I still like reading this book, but it's definitely in that kind of just kind of comfortable, like not setting the world on fire sort of level of book.
Yeah. It's a nice, like, intermediary book where there's nothing, like, huge going on, but if you're invested in the characters, you're happy enough. Like, as someone that, not that I don't care for Fatality, I don't have much history, I do like this progression with her, right? Like, I really like what Morgan Hampton did over the course of this arc, of her seeing what Anquar was up to, and then eventually being like, you know what, I don't feel like that anymore. I feel different. You know, so to go on that ride with that character, I really appreciate.
Yeah. And I'll just try and pretend that I don't hear the Mortal Kombat voice every time I say her name out loud.
Yeah.
So, that's Green Lantern Corps. A pleasant enough sort of B tier book. That's kind of how I feel about it. Which, you know, it's a shame that on this, which is what I think of as maybe a bit of a shakier week in DC's month right now. You know, maybe it does stick out a little bit better than it would otherwise. But what are you giving Green Lantern Corps issue 13?
I'm gonna go straight 7.
Yeah. I'll go 6.5. I don't want to overshoot it too much. Although I wrote down 6.9. Freudian slip there, apparently.
Nice.